I'm Stan Moot, CTO with IABM, and I always love talking about the different aspects of AI and what's going on. So I have Renato here from ContentWise. So just tell me, what is the problem with discovering content?
Hello, everyone. Well, discovery is definitely at the front and center of pretty much every industry trade show, a conversation and chat. It's always about how do we help users find content. I always remind myself and the people that are work in my team, you remember we work in media entertainment, so it should be fun. It should be all related to people finding content they love. So while we believe we do a great job of helping companies achieve a better discovery experience, it is definitely the case where there's never a bottom limit to how well you can actually do discovery. So the discovery of content problem will always be around. People can always expect more. And I believe that the perfection of the discovery problem will be probably kind of boring. A system that exactly knows what you would like to see at any point in time. So you want surprise, you want serendipity, you want something that excites you. So discovery is never ending problem from that perspective. We can always do better. And that's what we have been trying to do at ContentWise for the last 15 years, is indeed to actually help companies achieve a better level of personalization, which leads to improving discovery. It's all about making the media experience engaging.
Yeah, so let's just talk about that. So how is AI impacting the personalized experience?
I'm very grateful to the uh, adventure into GPT territory, ChatGPT, and a lot of people have been experimenting. Hey, can you tell me what movies you like? So from our perspective, we have been very cautious in understanding what are the applications and implications of actually using AI specifically, because as a company, we've been doing machine learning for quite some time. So now I will not go into the differences between machine learning and AI, but specifically, there are a lot of applications related to generative AI that can actually be applied to what we do. So I would say that the foremost results of this heightened attention to AI recently has been, let's bring back the idea that we can actually use data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence to improve user experience. We can actually at scale personalize user experience for every user in our platform by using techniques that are powerful to make it more engaging. So once again, the idea of AI is rather broad. So when we talk about AI in media entertainment, specifically, we can look into the production side, we can look into the distribution, and I'm talking specifically about the distribution on a content discovery. There are so many things that we can do to personalize more the conversation with the end user, whether it's, for example, a search that understands better the user intention, whether it's a user experience or UI that changes according to the user, and it welcomes you with something that is personal to you and understands you better. These are all things that you can do. Now, the productivity perspective is probably a little more mature on the content production distribution. For example, generation of metadata is something that nowadays with LLMs, it's essentially very powerful, very effective. On the user experience side, there are some techniques that are machine learning that are actually still more convenient, cost efficient than using general AI or generative AI specifically. But it's definitely an area that I'm very happy that there is a heightened attention on the industry on what to do.
Well, when we talk about Gen I and media and entertainment, it sort of conjures up ideas, but not everything works and some things work. So tell me about some practical examples.
Indeed, I was just referring to, for example, the content production perspective. Traditionally, the biggest problem that we have had in the personalization space is related to metadata. You will not believe how many companies still define, for example, film as a genre for content for movies. Well, not really. So the lack of good metadata has been plaguing the work of personalization, because one of the key inputs of actually being able to even simply recommend. We have this concept where we provide four level of personalization. Recommendation is the first one. It's a very basic one. If you have a service nowadays that it's not capable of selecting content which is right for the user, you have a long way. So definitely, level number one is recommendation. Even in the recommendation space, metadata is crucial to understand the nature of the content itself. What is this content about? And it's not just about the title, the actors, the directors, a summary. That's metadata that has been around for quite some time. But any metadata that can describe the nature of the content, like, for example, what's the theme? What's the subject? What's the character? What is the mood of this content? any kind of metadata fields that allow us to understand the nature of the content so that we can understand you as a user likes these kind of features, these kind of traits into the content itself, so that we can match it to content that is available in our platform with the actual definition of the content itself. So metadata generation has been clearly the best application. Other things are a little bit lagging, specifically related to the cost of using them. There are some applications, for example, the actual generation recommendation that traditional techniques related to machine learning are far more efficient today and less expensive.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head there. It is lack of metadata. And how can you do personalization when people just put the word film in? It just doesn't cover it.
Yeah, and it's both the point of view of the algorithms. The algorithms need quality data. So metadata that is of good quality does help. But there are also ways in algorithms to avoid even, for example, using metadata completely. Nowadays, there are embeddings that you can use, so which are purely numbers that describe the nature of the content, like a digital DNA. There are not traditional metadata that you can use to understand the nature of the content, or you can use techniques that only rely on user actions, these so-called traditional collaborative models. And even a lot of the recent recurrent neural networks methodology don't really require that much metadata. But when you look at the editorial work, we strongly believe that services that have a static experience for everyone and then a bolted on recommender for you carousel are really, really scratching the surface in what the value is for what we do. Because you're only selecting the right content for the user in a very specific area. So it's a hit and miss. You're trying to, what if you can actually personalize everything? You can personalize the hero banner. So you can still have your editorial choices, and you can apply an algorithm to make sense of what editorial choices you have, a larger pool of content that makes sense for that specific user. This technique is being called algotorial in other industry, and it very well much applies to what we do. But also, what if every carousel in the page is personalized? What is the order, the selection, the complete user experience changes for every user?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head there. Absolutely. You've got it figured out. You understand personalization. And it's going to be videos like this that'll encourage people to put more metadata in. Thanks for the chat today.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the opportunity.